Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Made it to the end of another week, and we have a little bit. Now, I shouldn't say a little bit. We've got a series of Seahawks news that all kind of adds up to a fairly substantial amount of information. Let's just leave it like that. So, we've got a little bit of contract details, and we've also got a slew of revelations from the most recent OTA session yesterday. So, I'm going to talk about all this and try to get an idea of where things are headed. So, first of all, interesting news here, Mario Edwards. We finally got the contract details, and we got him on what is called a veteran salary benefit. So I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of what a veteran salary benefit is, but it basically allows us to sign a player for more money than we actually have to put on our cap. It's a small credit. It's not even a quarter of $1 million. It's 225 grand, but it does lower the cap hit by that amount. So Mario Edwards, he's got a base salary this year of 1.165 million, so 1.17 million, signing bonus of just over 150,000, and we're getting basically a rebate. That's kind of, I think, the best way to put this. We're getting a rebate of 225 grand, so his actual cap hit is just shy of 1.1 million, even though we're actually giving him a little bit more than that. Now, at this point, with our salary cap being what it is, and the very tiny amount of space we have left to maneuver things, it doesn't make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. But honestly, at the same time, you can also look at it the other way and say, hey, we're going to be very close up to the cap by the time this is all over with, in all likelihood. Like, I've already kind of documented it that we probably need to make one more salary cap minded move. And $225,000 could be the difference between a damaging move and a just casual restructure move. So we'll see exactly what that move is. I don't think this 225 grand means we don't have to do anything else. But I do think that it could get to a point where we end up sitting there thinking, hey, good thing we got that VSB credit. But Mario Edwards is indeed in town now with the Seahawks, and apparently he will be in for a training camp. I think it's later this month. So he is now part of the team, and we're getting him for technically, according to the cap, less than the minimum. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that happened at OTAs. Got Brady Henderson here. One thing that a few different people commented on from this OTA session was that Mike Jackson played really well, which, hey, he's kind of fighting for his job right now. He's fighting for playing time, so good for him. But the main highlight that I really want to draw some focus to here is Tariq Woolen was present, obviously wasn't practicing, but he is now in the building. He is now participating in some capacity in this OTA period. So Woolen is indeed in the house, which he was not for the optional stuff. We also had this from Bob Condotta. Devin Witherspoon picked off a tipped pass in a team session, and he also calls out Michael Jackson's good play as well. Obviously, the Witherspoon stuff is going to be exciting to a lot of people, myself included. However, Brady Henderson then goes on to talk a little bit about where our top two rookies are right now. Witherspoon is lagging a little bit behind in his rehab. He worked off to the side during the 7-on-7 reps. He did not do the full speed reps during that portion, which is kind of notable because JSN did. And Brady Henderson specifically calls out here that JSN did more today than we've seen in previous sessions. So the hamstring is looking like it's quickly becoming a thing of the past, and he'll be ready to go long before even the preseason starts. And Witherspoon, he's obviously making progress, and I'm not really concerned about anything right now. It doesn't seem like there's anything to be concerned about. But obviously people are going to feel a lot better when he's going at full speed when the season starts, because that hamstring's kind of been lingering for a while now. It's part of the reason why he didn't test very much in the lead up to the draft. So that's some good news on JSN and some decent news, I'll call it, on Witherspoon. It's certainly not getting worse anyway. We also got some clarification on the Woolen stuff. According to the team, it was a freak occurrence between plays during Phase 2 of the Seahawks offseason workouts. Again, there is definitely a little bit of a conspiracy, I guess I'll call it a conspiracy theory getting passed around among Seahawks fans of when the injury actually occurred. I'm not really going to get into that because it doesn't matter. But the important part is that according to everything that I've seen from the team and everything I've seen regarding this particular procedure, this particular injury, he should be ready to go well before the season starts, the preseason starts. Should be ready to go when training camp starts, honestly. So, not really worried about anything there. I know that there were definitely some people who were concerned about the Tariq Woolen situation, but it sounds like he's got maybe a month before he's ready to go. So I'm not really worried about anything there. Also, we learned a little bit about Abe Lucas because he did not do a lot of on-field work during the initial wave of OTAs, and he still isn't doing that much. Several beat writers have talked about how it's been Jake Curhan doing a lot of right tackle work. Well, he had off-season surgery, and according to Carroll, he has almost all the strength back in his shoulder, and they have no doubt that he will be ready for training camp. So if you were a little worried about Abe Lucas, it doesn't look like there's anything to really be worried about right now. Hopefully that holds. But Abe Lucas making a nice recovery. And I also couldn't help but notice this from Curtis Crabtree. Brian Monet is expected to be back. Now, I think that it's telling that there's no timeline here. It just says that they are expecting to have him back. They don't say when. And I want to remind everybody that Brian Monet sustained an ACL injury near the end of the season. So if he takes a year to get back, he's basically going to miss this whole season. But this is the first I've heard of anything meaningful about Brian Monet. This is the first time I feel like I've seen it acknowledged that he's even on this team in a long time. So I don't know where we are with Brian Monet, but this is at least acknowledgement that he's still around, and it seems to be at least entertaining the possibility that we could have him back sooner than I'm expecting. So as much as Brian Monet isn't very good, we could use the big body, not against some teams, but there are certain teams out there you can use a 350-pound dude on your defensive line, and we're paying him. We may as well get him for something. One other note from the OTA session yesterday was returners. Condotta listed some guys that he saw get attempts during special teams to return kicks. Eskridge, which, hey, that would be the ideal, right? He finds a way to contribute without taking reps away from a guy like a JSN. Ken Walker, not going to happen. Aesop Winston, Tyjon Lindsley, Montre Braswell, those guys, no way they make the team. DJ Dallas, he seems like a pretty good kick returner, so sure. And JSN, which that sounds a little too scary for me. But I've said this a couple times now, and I'll continue to say it. I think the ideal is that D. Eskridge becomes our punt returner, and DJ Dallas becomes our kick returner. If those guys can do those roles effectively, then they'll find ways to contribute despite being nominally replaced in the draft. And the final thing that I was able to glean from the reporters at the OTA was Jamal Adams and Jordan Brooks will be in town for the minicamp next week. So they are going to be present, which is going to be significant for some because there was some, not that I was part of this, I don't really care about this at all, but Jamal Adams and Jordan Brooks not being there for the initial OTAs was something that concerned some people. Some people didn't like that. I didn't think too much of it. They were rehabbing in Texas, and they wanted to maintain stability in their rehab as near as I could tell. But some people felt like they should at least be in the building during the OTAs, and now they're going to be in town for the minicamp. I mean, I don't know what that says about their rehab, but obviously, if you follow Jamal Adams on social media, you can see the updates he has about his health. It seems like we're headed in the right direction here. Seems like he'll be ready for the season, but this is definitely going to be a thing where a lot of Seahawks fans, rightfully so, take a "I'll believe it when I see it" point of view. And as for Jordan Brooks, I mean, if this guy gets back for the regular season, as much as I'm not a big fan of Jordan Brooks, I think that would be amazing. The injury he sustained in January, if he's actually at NFL speed by September, that's pretty phenomenal. And I'm not believing that it's going to happen, but they're talking like it could. So, worth monitoring, I guess. As much as I'm not a fan of Jordan Brooks, I do think he's better than a guy like Vi Jones or John Radigan. So, better to have him than not have him. Again, you're paying him either way, right? All right, so that's basically what I was able to glean from the beat reporters who were at OTAs yesterday. Some good information. Seems like health for this team is trending in the right direction. Everybody's pretty much on schedule, if not better. And the secondary seems like they're making a lot of plays out there, which is encouraging because that's going to be one of the stronger points of the team in 2023. And overall, things seem good. And I don't know how much more we're going to be learning that's actually like surprising or compelling from future like mini camps and practices and stuff like that. But whenever there is information out there, I will pass it along. So let me know what you guys think about all this. I will see you guys for the next video, whenever that may come. And yeah, go Hawks. Things still trending in a pretty good direction. Hope to see you guys later on.